Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to the 4Q earnings call of Prestige Estate. From the management, we have Mr. Razak, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Narayana, the CEO, and Mr. Sarma, the Chief Financial Officer. Without taking too much time, I'll just hand over the phone to Mr. Razak for his opening remarks, post which we'll open the floor for Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, and thank you for joining this call. Yes, we are going through very, very, very different times, which we haven't ever seen in our lives, and but we have to steer through these also, and we have to stay positive. But today, positive is also a bad word. However, mentally we need to stay positive. Physically, we can be negative. So that's the balance we need to do. And I believe that as long as we keep doing what we are doing, and I think we can achieve results. This year as a whole, we have stopped short from giving any guidances because we really can't predict what's going to happen the next day. So, but at the same time, we are taking each day as it comes. And Bangalore especially has performed well in the last 3 weeks, which is very heartening for us. And the other cities also should pick up, where Hyderabad we don't have much inventory. But however, the only city that we see a lot of traction is coming from Bangalore alone. And fairly decent numbers are coming from Bangalore. I'll update you as we go along in the Q&A. You've all seen our numbers, you've seen everything else. Actually, the team is also working very, very hard, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. And the other thing is, during the lockdown period, a lot of activity was done by our teams in terms of keeping our communities that are living in our projects safe. Proper service was given to them. Apart from our CSR efforts through Prestige Foundation to see that we provided rations to all those laborers who were in their camps, to see that medically they were checked up. Apart from the community itself, we have distributed a lot of ration kits as well as meals. We did something like about almost 2.5 million plus meals have been done during that period. And it's been gratifying that everybody from the company has really been involved in it, and it's one chance that we also got to give back to the people who deserve. And I believe, again, as we go on, it has to be something that we need to look at in a different way. Of course, there are different asset classes, and each asset class that we are involved in has a different total, sort of stress point. But we'll take the questions as they come, and we'll be more than happy to answer you. Of course, during the quarter, that is the March quarter, we've done some very good sales. I'll ask Venkat to update on the operational performance for the quarter.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thanks for taking time out to be on our post-results conference call of Prestige Estate. As Chairman said, been testing times, difficult times for across all industries and the economy across the globe and the entire economy as a whole. But things are slowly coming back to track in Bangalore, and we hope you and your families are safe and healthy. Let me quickly take you through the operational highlights of Q4 and financial year as a whole, and also the key highlights in terms of financial numbers, and post which we can open up for the Q&A. So the quarter that has gone by, we've registered pre-sales of over 1,200 crores, 1,208 crores to be precise, and we collected 1,338 crores of money. This is in addition to the rental and hospitality income that we had during that quarter, and the overall collection for the year have been very good as well. we launched around 7.4 million square foot of projects, and we completed 2.56 million square foot of projects. The projects that we have launched are the Finsbury Park, Prestige Skytech in Hyderabad. It's a commercial development. Finsbury Park is affordable housing under HDFC platform. This is the first project that we launched under HDFC platform, and the other one is getting ready, should get launched soon. That is Prestige Smart City. These are the two transactions that we have done under the platform so far, and there are quite a few that we are evaluating. And in terms of completions, we had one block of Cessna Business Park, 0.7 million getting done, and StarTech, 1.79 million square foot. I'm happy to share that this property, almost 50% of it just got leased to Accenture. Given these times, that will be the good news. We signed the lease deed, and the documentation is all completed. And the other project that we completed is the Prestige Phoenix, that is in Hyderabad. So overall, if you look at the year as a whole, operationally, our pre-sales are at 4,500 crores. These are highest pre-sales that we have done in last 4 years. And the collections are at 4,675 crores. And launches for the year as a whole were 17 million square foot, and the completions were around 19.32 million square foot. So now moving on to the operational performance, from operational performance to the financial performance of the company. For the quarter that has gone by, so we had total revenue of 2,000 crores and EBITDA at 27% at 534 crores and PAT of 51 crores at around 2.5%, 3% almost close to. And year as a whole, the total revenue stood at 8,243 crores, the probably highest revenue that we have ever booked since incorporation. An EBITDA of 2,474 crores at 30%, and PAT of 548 crores at 7%. So these are the financial highlights. Though this year, given the uncertainty, we may not be able to guide you in terms of operationally what is going to happen. But the last year we had given guidance. That guidance was achieved if you see in our presentation, slide number 12. So pre-sales guidance, we have at 91% of what we had guided, and collections were at 104%, launches were at 171% of what we guided, completions were almost double. We brought down debt equity to the capital raise that, as you are aware, in the Q4 to 1.46. The leasing has been at around 74%. The rentals, exit rentals have crossed 1,000 crores coming from office and retail. We had guided for 952,000 crores. We are at 1,049 crores. And turnover has been substantially high. Overall, FY20 has been good year, and we crossed some benchmarks in terms of pre-sales being highest in last 5 years, turnover being highest ever, and exit rentals crossing 1,000 crores and all that. And lot of projects have just now got the approvals, including RERA and different cities. We may, depending upon how situation is going to be, how things are going to improve, we will have launches in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, in Goa, Mumbai, and NCR, almost getting ready with everything that is required for the launch of project. In fact, as we speak today we have pre-launch of a project, Prestige Primrose Hills, again affordable housing project at Kanakapura Road. So we are gearing up internally, using this time to plan things better, introspect, and directionally get everything right and all of that. But as you mentioned, as the chairman mentioned, we need to see through this phase, difficult times. So, and also a lot of you have been off record speaking to me about the labor issues and all of that. Yes, there are a lot of laborers who work in Bangalore and other cities that we are present in, come from Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Orissa and all that. Yes, they had gone back, but slowly those laborers also now coming back to work in patches. and hopefully in next couple of months, the construction activity also should be back to where it used to be pre-COVID days. Let's hope and pray that the this will be over sooner, and wish all of you to stay safe and healthy and take care. With this opening remarks, we can open the forum for the question and answer.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Adhidev Chattopadhyay from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So my first question is on our annuity business across our rental assets in the offices and malls. Could you just tell us how the collections have been post-March onwards, and what percentages have we been collecting? Obviously, malls have been more impacted, as we understand. And especially in malls where our debt to EBITDA cover, if I look at your slide 14, our debt to EBITDA cover is around 7 times already in the malls. I understand we have taken a moratorium. So could you just also explain to us how your lenders are looking at the LRDs, and will they be refigured or reworked? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now as far as office is concerned, I think we've collected almost 98%, or I would say 98% of what is due to us. And even the balance also is all under discussion, and I think almost everything or 100% will be collected as on the office front. Okay, wherever there were some new leases and the tenant hadn't even taken over started the work, so they've requested for some pushback on the rent start date, which we have done. So, but if you work that out, we are still very well in position. Like Venkat really said, now we had signed a large transaction with Accenture, but the property was handed over and the lease deed itself has been signed. Even they requested for a huge pushback, which we did not agree. And finally, the rent itself will start yielding from the 1st of August, and that's a month from today. And it's a lease which is a confirmed lease with a 2-year lock-in for 6,60,000, so almost 6 crores is the rent. And the balance area which they wanted on hard option, probably they'll exercise it, or we may even discourage them from keeping the hard option, and then we have got some other customers who we are talking to, and that will be leased out fully. So that's the office front, which is as of today, as of now, if things don't get worse, if the lockdown doesn't continue for too long, and people start going back to work, and now see, Bangalore infections are on the increase last 3 days. So that's a cause for concern. Of course, comparing it to other metro cities, we are far better off. But we never know what type of decisions, what type of knee-jerk reaction state government also will take. So it's very difficult for me to commit anything on that. But if things stabilize, things go on, I think we should not have any stress on the office front. On the retail, yes, we did give a waiver of rent right from day one. We said from the day you are locked up till the day we open up, there's no rent. So that's actually like a write-off. And the only thing that the tenants paid and the retailers paid during the lockdown period was the CAM charges. So there was no outflow. There was only the inflow as far as minimum guarantee and revenue share did not come, because anyway there was no trading at all. Now going forward, we've opened on June 4th the malls in Karnataka and one in Hyderabad. Tamil Nadu is still shut. The one in Udaipur is still is open. We are having footfalls around 30 to 40% max as far as footfalls are concerned. Even trading is also almost the same as compared on the same period last year. Now retailers are also feeling the pinch, but we are saying that, listen, we gave you a 100% waiver during March to June. Now please do not come back to us for anything else. But at the same time, we need to be sensitive. We need to build that relationships. Another good part in our malls is the moment we opened up, except for cinema and the gaming, everything else is open. Maybe a couple of retailers would be shut, but all of them, as of yesterday, are fully open and they are trading. Now, how much trading happens as we go along, we need to see, because again, it's all about the safety, fear factors. We've kept our malls completely sanitized. We've ensured that there's 100% safety. Visitors to our mall don't get infected. We've ensured that the staff who are operating the mall are fully protected and they are not a source for infecting the visitors. So that's been taken care of, and that's an assurance and a reassurance to the visitor to the mall. Having said that, I cannot predict what's going to happen the next week and the next week. But as of now, things are stable. Like Tamil Nadu, Chennai, we haven't opened the mall as yet. Tamil Nadu is under lockdown till the end of June. And even if it opens up in July, we'll have to see what steps have to be taken as far as the directions of the government. And there will be some rental readjustments in terms of maybe we'll have to do part minimum guarantee, part rev shares, maybe some increase in the percentage of rev share. These are all work in progress. It will keep happening. We'll come to know about it maximum by if not July end, by mid-August for sure we'll know where we are. But the retailers at least have opened the stores and they are trading. That's the positive part. And of course, hospitality, you know what the story is. We are still shut in the sense there's no travel, so there can't be any occupancy.
Sure, sir. So just on the follow on the how the bankers looking at LRDs, especially in the retail, like do we need to top up more loans or like how, or will we infuse equity to cover any of the losses in the lockdown period?
No, it's nothing. It's actually there has been a moratorium given by RBI for 3 + 3 6 months. And obviously when there's no income coming in, but in having said that, Chennai we had some cash balances. So what we've done is we paid off all April, May, June, we paid off the EMIs. And because wherever there is cash balance available, we do not want to take advantage. And but wherever moratoriums are available and where cash flows are not coming, it didn't make sense to bring money from somewhere else and pump it here. So this 6 months moratorium is there, by which time I think we should have enough cash in the system. And wherever that 6 months obviously will be added back to the capital, that is the principal of the borrowing. So it, in effect what it means is the repayment, instead of having completed in an X period, will happen in X plus 6 months period. This thing will just go up, that's all.
Sure, sir. Second question is on our capex and BD plans. So again, for slide 40, we have mentioned we have spent around roughly 2,300 crores on ongoing capex projects. So what would be the pending capex on these projects as of March 20, and are we going to now slow down the incremental capex, or are we still going ahead with those plans, including properties like the Delhi Aerocity, the 900 plus keys hotel, and some few projects which you have signed in Mumbai? Yeah, thank you.
See, Mumbai, nothing has started as yet. So we have parked Mumbai on the side. It's not that I'm not going to do Mumbai. 100% we will do Mumbai. But that will happen once the scenario becomes clear. But in the meanwhile, we are using the time to clean up the property. There's some, the occupiers are there. They need to be cleaned up. The approvals need to be got. The plans have been more or less frozen. So all that is happening side by side, so that there's no issues on that. But real start of work will happen only when the situation is clear, because we have already invested money and there's no point in us trying to have withdrawal symptoms. But at the same time, we do not want to start any construction work because it will be counterproductive. Construction will start when the coast is clear, when everything is clean and the COVID is behind us. But in the meanwhile, we are keeping on to clean up the properties, making sure that legally everything is perfect. So when everything is cleared up, we will be in a position to start almost immediately. And as far as capex in general is concerned, yes, wherever construction has started, wherever we have already got away halfway through, it is counterproductive for us not to stop or slow down, because again, it'll be in case there's any debt or where we are taking some construction loan, it'll be wrong for us to do it. But what we are doing is actually trying to push it, even with though there's a labor is an issue. Even if there's less labor, we are pushing the construction so that if the product gets ready, albeit a few months, so that when we are ready, say a year later or 2 years later, and COVID is behind us, we will be able to do the necessary leasing and actually make this into a success.
Sure, sir. See, we just share the figure
Mr. Chattopadhyay?
Yeah, it's a follow-up on this same question. On this 2,300 crores capex which you incurred, so this is what, 50-60% of the committed capex, or could you just share the percentage figure if possible?
So on an average, what we have spent for commercial, retail and hospitality, all put together if you are, we spent so far around 42%, and the balance is to be incurred still. So this is breakup. On a commercial capex, we have 2,000 crores of balance to spend, and retail around 291 crores, hospitality around 950 crores of balance to spend, totaling to 3,250 odd crores.
See, another thing, like we've sold one building to Adobe. Now that is also partly spent. Now we need, the faster I complete that building and hand over in a year or so, the faster I get my money.
Okay, sir. That's very helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have any follow-up, request you to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Swagato Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So for this quarter's sales, how much was commercial strata sales?
This quarter?
Yes.
Give me a moment, please.
I think about 150.
150 crores?
Approximately. Anyway, let Venkat pull out the exact figure.
I'll just confirm to you.
Because I am just
in the entire year as a whole, it's around 1,000 crores. But this quarter exactly, I'll just tell you. Just give me a moment. You can go on to the next question.
Sure. And so this Skytech that we launched, how much of it will be allotted for strata sales?
Which one? Skytech we have not launched, no?
Hyderabad, where we started work. Skytech is a commercial project that is in Hyderabad.
Okay, we've started construction.
As of now, nothing is contemplated for sale.
Got it. Okay. And sir, one clarification in the slide 30, the breakup that you gave of operating, under construction and upcoming.
Okay.
So this, the details that you give of the annuity assets, operating assets, under construction and upcoming. So I want to understand if the upcoming, is it all like in future? Have we started any work on this upcoming section, or we have done zero work on it?
Well, there is design, planning, approval kind of work, and wherever the cost incurred, if you see against the upcoming, it could be the deposit that we have paid to landowner. So this is more on planning stage, upcoming ones, where work has not started yet.
Got it. And have we started, to put it the other way around, in the AeroCity project, how much is our investment till now?
The AeroCity project, we have just picked up 50% stake. As you are aware, we made that announcement. We have funded so far 105 crores into that project. The balance to finish cost is around 1,500 odd crores. So in that, our share is 750 crores.
Right. So we have not actually contributed anything after the initial stake acquired.
So we have contributed so far 105 crores into the project.
Got it. And what is the total contribution for the various Mumbai projects so far?
Mumbai, as Chairman was mentioning, there are projects where we had paid initial money for sign up in project in Worli. And as far as the other project, the BKC is concerned, as we made announcement, we have bought out from German fund Trinity. So the early one was 50 odd crores, and the Trinity was little over 100 crores. And we have paid deposits for JD in the Byculla project, Just Done Classic project, close to 150 odd crores. So these are the three.
Got it.
Around 300 to 350 crores in total.
Got it. Okay, sir. Thank you. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Lakhan from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Razak and Venkat.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Venkat. Just quickly on the office portfolio, on the under construction part, right? There's almost 15 million square feet that is under construction. How much will be operational over 21, 22, and 23? If you can give some color. And also in terms of strategy, how much of this would be leased versus strata sale, and how much is pre-leased as of March 20?
I have to compile and share it with you, but this thing, offhand, if you have to tell me the information, all of those projects will get done under construction as planned, if you have to go by, in next 30 months or so. They are in different stages of construction. What I will do, against each of the projects, I can tell you by which quarter they will get done and whether the strata sold or owned for capex. So that maybe as we move forward, we can mention that as one of the column only, but I'll share this across to you because project-wise I'll have to give you.
Sure, that will be helpful. But any idea, broader idea in terms of how much would be leased versus strata, like of the 15 million square feet? Any target that we have in our mind?
Strata, entire tech cloud is strata. Let me get to the slide.
That's also a mix and match, Venkat. We're not going to sell everything. We're not going to keep everything. So the whole idea was not to get any leverage. So we said we'll sell as much that is required to put up the property. The rest we are going to keep. So it's been sold well. Even the collections that are coming on is pretty well, and I believe it's got a good scope, and the leasing also should happen once it's ready.
So I'm on the slide 22. Except for Prestige Tech Cloud, around 60 to 65% of it being contemplated as a strata sale. Rest all are right now being owned.
Yeah, that also again another thing is new projects. We will take a call whether we want to now do part sale, part keep. So we have not even started those constructions. Whenever we start, we'll take a decision.
Yeah. So Kunal, apart from Tech Cloud, first one, Tech Park 4 is what you see is the other column. So where we had recently sold
to Adobe.
So these are the two. Portion of
it. Got it. Just to follow up on that is basically you mentioned in your earlier comment that you will continue to pursue these projects where you have broken ground. So this 2,000 crore of capex on office will happen over the next 30 months or so.
30 months or so, yes.
That be a fair assumption? Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. All right. My second question was on the residential front. From our Q4 pre-sales, how much of pre-sales was from the new launches?
How much of pre-sales was from new launches? Except for Finsbury Park, there's nothing else that got launched during that quarter. So majority of the sales have come from ongoing projects. The Finsbury Park sales, the pre-sales that quarter, whatever you have accounted as little to 250 or 300 crores.
Sure. So also it will be helpful if you can share the data point on what is the value of our ready inventory as of March.
Value of ready inventory is there in the slide, 3,400 crores, 3,434.
Okay, so just to follow up on that again, so going ahead, considering we have this inventory, how are we looking at on the residential strategy in terms of balancing the new launches versus monetizing our existing inventory?
See, the new launches wherever that are happening, like for example, this launch project has been the Finsbury Park last quarter. In that location, in that area, we don't have offering right now. So, and today pre-launch that we are talking about in Kanakapura Road, in affordable housing category, again, we don't have in that category in that location of project. So the new launches are going to only help us expand wider in this market, and they're not at locations where we already have completed inventory. So I think they complement each other. The sales are happening out of completed projects. If you look at, but for this year, last 2-3 years, our launch in terms of residential have been very low, and whatever we've been selling from the completed inventory itself. So we think, I think there is a, like Sarjapur next, whatever we're going to launch, we don't have a project in that location, and that's a location where there is a lot of employment opportunities and people want to live there. So therefore, the new launches I don't think are going to disturb the existing project inventory, which we need to liquidate. So 3,434, 3,434 is the completed project inventory, which is there in the slide 17.
Sure, that's helpful. My last one is on
Mr. Kunal.
on the.
So sorry to
just last
interrupt.
one question.
Finish up, Kunal.
No problem. I'll come back in the queue, Venkat. No problem.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Khandpal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations on leasing this 50% area in StarTech Center. So I just wanted to know what are the leasing rates which you have achieved in this project, and what are the current market rates?
So the leasing rate is 90 rupees a square foot.
Okay. And what will be the market rates there?
Market rate, of course, see, that market rate again is something that is subjective. In a good market, probably I can even still get maybe another 20 rupees more, but that depends, 20 or even 30 rupees more. But this was a deal that was done some 3 years ago, and which now fructified today. Not 2 years ago we concluded this, and then we had to build and give it, and we got it finished within time. Fortunately, we finished it in time. We got the occupancy certificate in time, and hence the deal could go through. Otherwise, we maybe even the company would have used the thing not to go through or whatever. But then that's happened now. It's positive. It's nice. So we are happy with it.
So this was the contracted rate 2 years back, about 90 rupees.
Whatever contracted rate, that's the same rate we've got. Okay. The only remission that we gave is we pushed out the rent start date from 1st of July to 1st of August.
Okay. No, the other question on the Cessna, sir. So we have average rate of around 58 to 60 rupees. So this new block, what would be the leasing rate for the new block?
Yeah, those that building 9, 10, 11 have gone at an average of about 85 rupees.
So it's almost like the market rate.
Yeah, that's the market rate.
Okay. So just last question on this funding support which the hotels and malls will be requiring this year. So if you can quantify that, how much of funding support will the mall and the hotels require this year from the parent?
I've said that in malls, it's basically deferment of about 3 months rent be added back to the principal, and that I think that's also been allowed by RBI. And I definitely look at visibility of starting to get rents from July onwards properly, and enough money for us, enough cash in the system for us to repaying the EMIs without any difficulty. Now, as far as hotel is concerned, I think we'll have to fund it, the EMI, fund the interest itself for at least 6 months more. And that will have to come from our cash flows, internal accruals. And I don't think there'll be any reason for us to go back and ask for more debt, unless that moratorium happens and the interest, whatever payment hasn't happened, that will be added back to the principal.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I have some more questions. I'll join the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Atul Tiwari from Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks a lot. Sir, could you please say again the pending capex amount in the office, retail and hospitality under construction project? I kind of missed it.
So the office is around 2,000 crores. The retail is 291 crores, and hospitality is around 950 crores. These are the balance to finish construction costs, the company share in this project. And also to answer earlier questions on Kunal, I think, and somebody else also asked, in the Q4, the Q4 pre-sale, the strata sale contribution from office is around 157 crores. And in Q4 pre-sales of 1,200 that we have done, the sales from the new launches, that is Finsbury Park, is around 322 crores. I just wanted to give exact numbers. I gave you estimate that time. So these are the numbers.
Okay, sir. And sir, just one more question. In your presentation on slide 30, where you give operating, under construction and upcoming projects, say for the office, your economic interest in under construction projects is about 5 million square feet. But if I go to slide 22, where you give the more detailed breakup of under construction office projects, your share in TDA is 15.87. So the difference is quite big. So can you just reconcile?
Sorry, I didn't follow. Can you please help me understand once again?
Okay. So sir, if you go to slide 30 in your presentation,
Okay.
right? So the first table that you have, which gives the details of office projects operating, under construction and upcoming.
Yes, yes.
So Prestige's economic interest in under construction projects is 5 million square feet, 5.09 that you have given here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the slide number 22, Prestige economic interest is 11.5. Is that what you are mentioning?
Yes, yes.
The difference?
Yeah.
The difference is slide number 30, what we have taken is only counted for rental income. If you see the headline, this is all what is meant for rental income. Okay? So in slide number 22, is irrespective of whether it is held for rental income or strata sold, all those projects are mentioned. For example, that has got Prestige Tech Park, which is strata sold, Prestige Tech Cloud, which is strata sold. If you remove what is sold or meant for sale, 11.57 will become 5.09.
Okay, so that means that now the majority of your under construction projects will be sold out, even on the office side.
That's what I said. Two of them. One is, while answering to I think Kunal's question, Tech Cloud, which is meant for sale, and I think we have sold substantially as of now. That is around 4 million. The second one is Prestige Tech Park 4, which is 1.58.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurav Kumar from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Hi, Saurav.
Hi, Saurav.
Mr. Kumar, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question. As there is no reply from the current participant, we move to the next question from the line of Pujan Shah from Macquarie Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Mr. Shah, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to, get a sense on the residential business. How are the cash collections tracking from customers from April to June? If you can just throw some light on that, it would be great. Thank you.
The cash collection April was 80 crores. May was roughly about 250 crores. And June we will probably cross 300 crores.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akash Damani from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So my first question is, what percentage of your tenants are not in lock-in or about to complete lock-in this year on your commercial and retail side? And also, what percentage of your commercial space and retail space is due for releasing in FY20 and FY21?
See, I don't have that data offhand, but doesn't really matter whether they are locked in or not. If they have to go, they will go. And there's no way that we can stop them from going. So basically, we have to now just check whether the general health and this thing of the tenants are good. And we more or less believe that we've got some good solid clients. There could be some small clients who may want to move on. That's the office side. And as far as the retail also is the same thing. If you ask me, all the anchors have got all long-term leases like 15 years and all that. But generally in retail, for the smaller stores, that is what we call the line shops and the vanilla shops, we don't give leases for more than 3 years. Now do we insist on lock-in because we ourselves don't want them to be there for too long, and we always like to do the churn if somebody is not performing. Now this is a different time. We'll have to see how the whole thing can be worked and how we can work with them. As I said, we are very, very happy that when we open the malls, we are like almost near full in terms of trading, except for the cinema and the gaming and maybe a few restaurants, because since liquor and the restaurant timing itself is restricted to 8 o'clock, maybe it will be counterproductive for them not to open up just now. But apart from that, more or less, we are online and most of them are trading. So the question is, we need to evaluate and view even whether the office tenants, like now I told you about this lease that we just signed. Now the capex depends on how much capex they spend and when they spend. Now if you ask me for Accenture, my lock-in is 2 years. Now they've signed the lease deed. Obviously, if they want to vacate, they'll have to pay that 2 years rent. But we don't want something like that to happen. We actually want them to be there, and they want a more longer-term relationship than short-term and start looking for new tenants.
Sure, thank you. And my second question is on your hospitality segment. What is the fixed monthly cash burn rate in your hotel segment? And some luxury hotels in the country have started to offer their spaces and hotels to corporates, and license terms are at about 30 to 40% discount to commercial market rates. So are you also looking to something like this in your hotels? Leasing out to corporates for the next 1 to 3 years?
No, 1 to 3 years we want. It's too long, but let us see. Now, even if I give it for free, if there's no travel, why will they want to take it off? So we have to see when things come back to almost near normal, which is going to take some time. Don't know whether it will be 3 months or whether it will be 6 months. But whenever that happens, definitely we'll be working with them to see. And then obviously when that happens, when there's a normalcy, why will I want to discount myself? I'll be giving them better service, a better product, and a product that has been kept in good, fresh condition, a safer product for them. And that will be the distinguisher now. The distinguisher is not the price alone. Maybe if I'm offering a much higher price, but I'm giving that safety, if I'm giving the confidence that, listen, by staying in my hotel, you won't get sick. People will be willing to pay me a premium, because today it's not about pricing or this thing as far as hospitality is concerned. It's more that confidence that people will have when they get in terms of service, in terms of the product itself, in terms of the safety. So, but then as of now, it's too early for me to tell you anything, predict anything. It is going to take some time, and whenever it happens, we'll see what takes place.
Sure. And sir, what was the monthly cash burn rate in your hotel segment?
What did you ask? Sorry?
The monthly fixed cost that you incur in your hotels.
Yes, that's an excellent question. Now the thing is, we have brought down our monthly fixed cost to almost 20% of what we used to spend when the hotels were operating. And if you ask me, like a Conrad and if it's a Sheraton Grand, my teams have really done a wonderful job. But at the same time, I have not sacked one person who were on my rolls. Only what we've done is all the contract people, all those agencies that were on contract, they have been terminated on day one, and we've saved a lot of cash. I think, according to me, the Sheraton, we have a monthly fixed cost of about 1.5 to 2 crores. Similar with Conrad, and about 1 crore and odd in Aloft. In fact, till the month of May, we did have a negative cash flow. We got some 8 lakhs positive, and my GMs are very happy. We made a profit of 8 lakhs. But June is a separate story. We'll see when June happens what comes out. But as I said, this is on a daily basis. We'll have to see the thing happening.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, due to time constraint, please limit your questions to one per participant. Should you have any follow-up, request you to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Somaiya from PhillipCapital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Irfan sir. Hi, Venkat.
Sir, I just wanted to understand if you can give some color on, how the months of April, May, and June has been for our residential segment, and how have we approached, the online sales model?
The online is the way ahead now. Just to update you, April we were fully in lockdown, and in spite of that, my teams were able to sell about 25 units. That all came through online, and the money collected, agreements done. Now, the month of May, I think even first week of May we did some 20 units, and about 20 units we did for the next 2 weeks. But the last 3 weeks, we've done an average of about 55 to 57 units. In fact, last week we did 60. But then if you take an average, it's about 57 units we've sold. And it's all not the mid-income, it's mid-income, premium as well as luxury that's been sold. So overall, we have suddenly now got back the confidence that things, and consistently last 3 weeks has been good. The only thing is danger is with Bangalore, again, cases going up more than 100. Now there is all this talk about one more lockdown. I don't know what's going to happen next day, next week.
Okay, sir. And sir, my second question
Mr. Dhawan, so sorry to interrupt, but for any follow-up, request you to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Sameer Baisiwala from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks, and good afternoon, everyone. Sir, what are your updated thoughts of equity raising, both in the office portfolio, which was pre-REIT, and at the entity level?
Hi, Sameer. Sameer, at the entity level, as you know, in the Q4 we had some capital raising. And as far as the yielding portfolio is concerned, we've been in talks to raise capital either through pre-REIT or to go and get listed by combining office and retail, both of them put together. So we definitely need to do the unlocking of value between the commercial and the residential yielding portfolios. Now, given the situation, given the way things are, it's on a slow track now. We'll see once things improve how to take that forward. But definitely the plans are on.
Okay, great. And just to
Mr. Sameer, so sorry to interrupt, but for any follow-up, request to rejoin the queue, please.
Sameer, if you want to have any follow-up question on this, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Just to complete this point, so for the entity level equity raise, you are not looking for any further dilution?
No, not dilution.
Okay, and my second question, sir, is, so what's the picture? You mentioned some, labor disruption, etc. But how many of your sites are operational, or let me put this way, pre-COVID to now, what's your labor population? Is it 50%, 70%? And also, are your show flats, customer footfalls, where are they at the moment?
Now see, labor is right now between 30 to 40%. And in fact, more labor has been promised by L&T, JMC, saying that they're going to get, like L&T has promised me 500 labor coming this month, another 700 labor coming the following month, because some of the large jobs like Jindal City and all that are under production. They've also said that they will make sure that they keep that overall timeline. We've had a lag of about 3 months, but they are very confident that they will not delay the project. And as far as footfalls to the show units, of course, it's zero during the lockdown. And after the unlock one has happened, if you've clocked in these number of sales, as I said, in the last 3 weeks, obviously customers will be coming into the show units and making bookings. And the one good thing is whoever would be coming would be serious players. So then the sales have happened.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Agarwal from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sir, can you share the construction spends that you did for year FY20 and also, the spends in capex and on acquisitions? Could you give some data on that?
Yeah, sure. Mohit, in terms of construction spend for the year as a whole, we have spent around For developmental business, 2,560 crores, and the capex project, retail, office and hospitality put together around 1,000 crores. So it is around 3,560 crores as the construction spend. And for the land, refundable deposits, TDRs or investments of stakes, buying of stakes in various companies, acquisitions and all of that is around 1,565 crores for a year and a half. So this has been the spend for construction as well as
the land one you said 1,500 crores.
165 crores.
Okay. And sir, if I may just ask one clarification, you gave an understanding of the slide 22 and slide 30, the difference between the office numbers that you have under construction numbers between the rental and the strata sale. Similarly, in slide 24, you have given that numbers for retail, and in slide 30, the rent yielding. In retail also, do we have a strata?
No, we don't have. The 30 and 22 difference is, one is the strata sales, other is 22 is the total. In fact, I was about to clarify that 22 is total developable area, whereas 30 is the leasable area. That's the difference.
Okay, understood, sir. That's helpful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Lakhan from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up. Mr. Razak, in your opening commentary, you mentioned that, Bangalore is showing some good numbers. Can you elaborate a little on that in terms of residential and office and retail probably?
No, I just mentioned Bangalore, last 3 weeks, we've been able to clock 50, 55, 60 sales per week, which according to me is fairly decent, and especially so during these times. And that's how we are even doing a pre-launch today. Only thing is, it remains to be seen how this can be sustained, and if there is no further lockdowns, I believe that this will improve further.
Fine, that's on residential front, but on office front, how are you seeing the demand panning out there now?
Yeah, I know MNC is working today or thinking of any expansion at the moment. Whatever old transactions that were there, even that we needed to see that contracts were fructified. Now, as far as we told you about the Accenture transaction, which we signed the lease yesterday, and that's on track completely. Then we've done a transaction with Adobe where they are buying one complete block. I think it's about 450,000 square feet or to the near about. Even that transaction is on. They've paid us money. We need to now produce and deliver those goods. Now, as far as new leasing is concerned, there has been some activity from 3 or 4 clients, and we've been given some inspections, and some are in CBD, some are in the where the techs are, like the outer ring road and other areas. But then I think the decision-making process itself will be a bit slow, a bit more measured, but the interest is there. In fact, last week at least 3 companies were given inspection for some large spaces, and the only thing is the decisions have to come. And however much people are talking of WFH, which is suddenly became the flavor of the season, WFH cannot be practical and will not be done. So basically, I believe there again that's only a fiction in somebody's mind. The office working in the office will be the order of the day for future. Today, there's no choice. They are locked in, and they're also worried about their safety. Many large MNCs, though unlock one has happened, they haven't started coming to office. They are still sitting in their homes and they are working. But that can't be for too long. It's only till there is some assurance that the coast is clear and things are safe. But then till then it will go on like that. But then in any large company there has to be collaboration, there has to be meetings, there has to be physical contact point, in the sense, not physical contact in that literal sense, but eye contact, and work has to go on. So this will pan out, but I believe 6 months. Let's give it 6 months and see how things pan out.
Just to follow up on that is, in our existing portfolio, the existing rental yielding portfolio, what would be the tenant mix, which basically where the underlying business is like, directly impacted because of COVID, like say aviation, hospitality, or retail? What would be the tenant mix that?
The aviation, we probably wouldn't have anything much except now, if you ask me, there's one space in Chennai where we leased out to for an office, sales office for Emirates. That's about 2,000 odd square feet, which is of no consequence looking at the millions of square feet that we've leased out. Now, if you look at oil, I've leased out some very large space to ExxonMobil. Now, ExxonMobil, whether the oil price goes up or goes down, they are a very huge corporation and they are there to stay. They're not going to run away. Then, like that, we've got BPOs and even banking. Now, all these are different businesses, and they are also IT companies. So it depends each time what type of businesses. Like, of course, if there is a big, say, a company who's doing hospitality bookings or a travel agency, or who's involved, like if you take a Make My Trip. Fortunately, I don't have a Make My Trip, and that risk is not there. In fact, we've got some people like even the online shopping guys in our properties like Amazon or the others, and those guys are doing great business.
So would it be safe to assume that the concentration of such clients would be less than, say, 5% or so?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Kumar from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, first of all, Venkat, congratulations on the work you've done for the migrants. Sir, I just had one question on the equity point. So obviously, you had the foresight to raise equity in January, but it seems that you do need more, especially given the dislocations you have in the retail and the hotel business. Would you be open to selling some of your completed assets some of your completed offices or hotels or even malls, just one by one, if possible, and not go down the REIT structure to just deliver down the firm? Or is that not an option you think is required at this point of time?
All options are open. No option is closed as long as it's a sensible thing, because ultimately we need to see how we can churn cash. And if there is less dependence on that, so be it. But I'm not saying we are going to do it today or tomorrow. I'm not saying that will happen. See, even a REIT is like giving away a certain portion of your asset. So we have an open mind. We work with open minds, only in the interest of bettering the company.
Okay, that's good to know, sir. And Venkat, just on this DTA, so fair to say that 35%, so the tax rate on resi will be 25 and everything else will be on MAT?
Sorry. Yes.
On the movement to the new tax regime.
The lower tax regime, 22% one. Yeah. So we will be moving, but only thing is we have MAT credits that we won't be able to utilize. So when we move to the new regime, those and the deferred tax liabilities have been reversed. Is that what the question was?
So the residential will... No, so you said that you're moving to the new tax regime for certain entities. So should one assume that the residential business has 25% tax and the office business continues to stay on the MAT regime?
No. What we said is, in the note, some of the entities, so there is option that is being given without deductions to stay at the current rate. Sorry, with reductions to stay at the current rate, and without deductions to go to the new tax regime at the lower rate. So we said most of the entities we are going to opt for that. So now if you look at PEPL, if we opt for it, there are residential, there are office, there are retail, everything in that put together. We will not be able to take a decision asset-wise.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhinav Sinha from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Hi. So just wanted to check that for the next year, broadly, are we looking at any increase in debt or net debt, say, on a YOY basis, considering where the cash flows are now?
So see now, as far as residential goes, we have customer collections, we have balance to receive money we've been selling. The cash flows that we will use, those anyway are as per RERA also need to be used for the construction. That's how in the discipline we've been following. That will be done through the collections and sales. As far as the rental yielding portfolio is concerned, anyway, even earlier we used to borrow 60-70% of it, and the balance was equity. And that continues to happen for the ongoing residential and retail. Ongoing commercial and retail.
Okay, so you are comfortable with the gearing ratio broadly now?
Comfortable.
Okay. And sir, just one more question. The HDFC platform project, 10 million square feet, where are we on approvals now, and where does it get launched? Thank you.
As I mentioned initially, the most projects we've got final leg of approval. Some of them are RERA registration phase. Some of them are final leg of approvals. Now the cities that I had mentioned, we will have all the approvals like Hyderabad, a project in Goa, and a couple of more in Bangalore and Chennai. All the approvals in place in next 30-45 days, subject to the government agencies working. And launch is something we'll take a call based on how the situation is.
Okay, sir.
Please split into two parts if you see. I think the above part is where we will have approvals in next 3 months and everything. All upcoming projects will be
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swagato Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I have two quick follow-ups. On the strata sales we have been doing over the last few months, can you please help us with what is the cap rate we have realized, average?
Which one, sir?
The various strata sales that we have done. I just want an indicative cap rate that we have realized.
Sales are not being done on the cap rate basis because they are not pre-leased. Okay, so it's more like a residential. It's land cost plus construction cost plus our margin. That's how the sale price has been factored in.
But there will be some implied cap rate based on the market rentals.
Yeah, so wherever like Outer Ring Road, the market rentals of around 80 to 90 have been taken into consideration as a reference point. Okay, so on that, if you look at, maybe it will translate to around 7.5-8% rate cap rates. But Tech Cloud, if you look at, which is closer to the airport of Bangalore, that scale, that size, there is no nearest reference point. We can only estimate that this will get leased at X number once it is completed. So there it's more of cost plus basis model.
Understood, helpful. And so for DIL project, the Aerocity project, do we have an option to wait out before we make our next contribution, like wait out for situation to normalize and not contribute anything incremental?
Anyway, just now work is also not happening in full swing because of the labor and the situation in that area. So obviously the pumping in infusion of next round of money will happen only after the construction resumes in full swing.
Yeah, but construction might resume in a few months, but the hospitality sector might be under uncertainty for a longer time. So can we probably wait it out till that time?
We haven't thought from that angle. I mean, of course, we definitely want situations to improve. When we say sector-wise, we look at each sector and then take a decision. Because residential is slowly coming back. Office right now is more or less okay. The retail, we need to wait and see when the malls open. The hospitality, of course, we need to look at what's going to be the future decision. The segment-wise, we'll take a decision. Right now, anyway, since the infusion point has not been discussed, so we're not deliberated on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we take the last question from the line of Aditya Chattopadhyay from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead. Mr. Aditya, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So just a housekeeping question for what is the rental income for the fourth quarter, the actual rental income we have done? And for retail hospitality, what is the EBITDA impact or loss which has happened in the fourth quarter in the reported numbers? Thank you.
The rental collections are around 258 odd crores for the quarter.
Okay.
And what was the next question?
Sir, I was referring to your retail hospitality, right? So margins in FY20. So just wanted to ask you, what is the impact of COVID? Means, is there any COVID impact? Like, what would have been the margin or the EBITDA if the COVID was not there? Like, anything?
No, I think up to March quarter there is not much of this thing. There is nothing that is significant because
it's the next quarter and the next quarter that needs to be reviewed minutely. As far as we are concerned, the March quarter was, except for 15 days, which probably even sales got impacted by about roughly around 200 crores. Otherwise, we would have had much more sales, pre-sales. But nevertheless, that was the story as far as the March is concerned. But now the April to June and July to September is what really needs to be seen. Office, as far as I'm concerned, it's fully protected. Whatever the rentals had to come have come. But it's retail has, as I said, it's like 0-0. And even hospitality has been 0-0.
Okay, so that's very helpful. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Aditya Bagal for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. So just wanted to thank everyone for joining in onto the call. A special thank you to the management for taking out your time and answering your questions so candidly. I'll hand the call back to the management, Mr. Razak, Mr. Narayana, if you have any closing comments.
Venkat, you give your closing comments.
Thanks once again for taking time out to be on this call. Please take care, be safe, and we'll keep updating you. Whatever improvements that you are making sector-wise, as and when things come under control, because it's now state-wise, city-wise. It's not about one city, one geography, and all five segments that we are in have got different challenges and may take extra times to come back to track. Likewise, each of the cities have got their own specific issues. So we'll keep you posted. If you need any further information, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you once again for your time.
Yeah, thanks again for joining into the call. Like Venkat says, we have to keep safe. And I always have a firm believer that, there has to be a balance between life versus livelihood. Yes, lives have to be saved, but livelihood also has to go on. We need to see that the economy is churned, at the same time keeping our people safe. And I said lives versus livelihood and life versus living. Because what is the use of life without living that life, and what is the use of having life without livelihood? So this is a huge, delicate balance. We only have to pray and hope that this huge pandemic is behind us very soon. I don't see it happening soon, but then we just have to keep praying and hope that the Almighty gives us the clearance and the strength to face this, and at the same time see this pandemic through, and we go back to those times which we used to normally cherish. Now looking back, it looks as though it was something very different. I think we are ever grateful to the Lord, but yes, we need to continue with whatever we are doing in a positive frame of mind. Thanks again for joining the call.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of